Here now, Michelle. Lots of moving parts when you do this, so thank you, Michelle. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the July meeting of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. Before we begin with the pledge, I want to let everyone know, as you saw in the agenda, we have a modified agenda today. We are fortunate to have a guest speaker. Lori Page is here from the South County Large Animal Rescue and provide a presentation for us on that today. So I've adjusted the agenda and moved some things around from our normal format to allow Lori's presentation to occur towards the beginning of the program. And then after Lori's done, we'll get into some regular business. But I'm going to ask everyone right at the beginning, this is not a day for other large presentations. We will quickly work through stakeholder reports and open forum and council reports. So think right now about what you want to say and what you don't need to say, so we can obviously all get out on schedule. But I did try to leave those things on there so that if there were things that we really needed to ensure that the broader audience had on schedule today. So Jody informs me that we have a forum of folks both online and in the room. So we will go ahead and call the meeting to order. And what I'd like to do is everybody rise and place the flag and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone should have received a copy of the agenda, both online and there's hard copies here today. Looking around to the board members, and again, thank you, board members, for sitting up front. We're adjusting things with our sitting arrangements. We want to really try to get the board members sitting up front. So with that, the agenda is before you, and I ask for the board's approval. All those in favor, all your comments on the changes proposed, either here in the room or online. Nothing here, nothing online. With that, all those in favor of approving the agenda for today's meeting, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, the agenda for today is approved as presented. Next up, item 5, meeting minutes from the June meeting. Again, all board members should have received a copy online via the email that went out. Any comments, changes, corrections to the June minutes? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor, any opposed? Michelle has a hand up.
I can't hear you too much. I think we need a little closer to the microphone.
Too much closer to it.
Okay.
Ken, when you turn your head away from the microphone, it doesn't transmit, so you're cutting in and out.
Interesting. It's always worth finding. All right, I'll just switch. All right, can everyone hear me now? All right, thank you, Michelle. Okay, minutes have been approved. So with that, I'd like to move right to our new business, and I'd like to, item A is our presentation. I'd like to introduce Lori Page from the South County Large Animal Rescue. So we give Lori an opportunity to talk for about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll have some questions and answers. So I encourage everybody to take that opportunity. We will do our best to field questions online after Lori presents. So just be patient with us as we field those here. Janet, Lori, you have the floor. So probably up close to you.
Is that better now? Great. Well, I want to thank everybody in the fire station for allowing me to come and speak to you today. Some of you may be familiar with SCAR, others may not. We reintroduce ourselves.
You know what? We still can't hear online. We cannot hear it.
How's that? Is that any better?
Much better.
Thank you. So, and it maybe at a very high level, can step back and talk a little bit about what might be happening statewide with community animal rescue. So SCAR stands for the South County Large Animal Rescue. When it was started in 2003, that was the main focus. However, over the years, we have evolved and we do rescue anything that's within our purview, whether it's small animals, we travel with our trailers, as well as small cages. So if we rescue dogs and cats, we will do that. We won't leave anything behind. And we cover the entire county from up in Poole, Georgetown area, as well as south of the 50 corridor, which was originally their main focus. It was started by Dr. Dave Turoff. I don't know how many of you have large animals that maybe use Turoff, like the specialty horses and like the llamas and alpacas, based here in Placerville, and they decided that it was a really good idea to have somebody that could focus on large animal rescue. So they worked in conjunction with animal services, and today we have about 40 members. We're picking up quite a few more after the Caldor fire. Interestingly enough, from people that had drug experience, one lady that had a horse brought in that was injured en route, that we really helped take care of. We had an OES supervisor that ran the Gold Hill location that decided to join, and then one of the members of the Amador County animal rescue team that decided to join because they felt it was a great job in their county, no less. So, SCAR is what's considered a community animal response, a rescue team. And what is a community animal rescue team? There's basically two different kinds. In short, it stands for community animal rescue or response team. And we've got two types: with certified disaster service workers, which is what SCAR is. Butte County has NAVDAG, which is the North Valley Animal Disaster Group, and then the rest of them, Napa Park, Sonoma Park, Solano Park, are all associated, affiliated with their animal services. Then you have your spontaneous part members. And so this is sort of a comparison chart. The spontaneous parts might be a single individual. They're on Facebook, or there's somebody that they help with my animals, and they'll go and help. They may be a 501c3 organization. They very frequently have insurance, and they conduct training. They self-deploy, word of mouth, friends, family, neighbors, Facebook kinds of things. Or they may just simply show up and help. More than a lot of people come there. They're typically not allowed behind the evacuation lines, whereas we are. A DSW-based part is usually a 501c3. I don't know whether that or not, but it's possible. They're comprised of registered disaster service or DSW volunteer workers. They do conduct formal training. We don't self-deploy. We are deployed by animal services. People that are needing to evacuate will call animal services, and they will deploy us as necessary at whatever this location is requested. So we don't just want to do that. We have to pass a lifespan background check. We're sworn in by the Office of Emergency Services, and that is what allows us to be covered in the state workers' comp plan, and also gives us a little bit more protection in the family. So those are two really key factors. We don't just have to Also, as I mentioned, that the state does have many of these animal parks that are affiliated with animal services. But in order for us to be able to share resources, the counties have to have a memo of understanding between themselves. And that needs to be in place before you actually have a disaster. So unfortunately, El Dorado Animal Services Chief Henry Brzezinski very much on top of it. He's helped out at a campfire a few years ago. The county complex fires that we have has a lot of resources. The state also has some resources. They'll be turned. So, as I said before, El Dorado County Sheriff Office of Emergency Services is going to swear us in. To have the background check. Our application goes to Animal Services up to Health and Human Services. And once that's all set up, then the applicant is notified by via mail to go through the background check. And they can either do that on their own and take that, or OES is the first Health and Human Services process. Once that's all been done, then we go back to Office of Emergency Services. So what does SCAR do? Well, we aid the authorities, and again, this is the right authorities in the of animals, whether it be large animals, small animals. Typically, in Caldor, we were called out to Amador County Fairgrounds to run the large animal shelter. And also the large animal shelter in Louisville. Both shelters have well over 500 animals, large number of plus horses. Couple of cattle that we brought in, lots of sheep, goats, pigs, and the Gold Hill location had a far smaller number of horses. They had about 7 total, larger number of pigs, sheep, and goats, and also very popular. So we do provide the means for the county to transport large animals, and one of the benefits of this is, of course, then the county does not have to maintain and purchase trucks and rigs and trailers for something that may not happen very often. We are allowed to do this again. What we don't do is large cattle evacuations. So rescue animals in distress in what places, unless we're directed by anyone. We don't perform extractions where horses get stuck in wells or they get stuck in feeders and fall down the hill. Our search and rescue teams actually have some training for rope rescues. They very graciously allow those SCAR members to attend that just for orientation purposes. It's really a great experience. We also pick up fire line training at the same time. And again, we do not self-deploy as much as we would like to. It's difficult, but we do work with that. So, getting to the registered disaster service worker volunteer. Citizen volunteers that provide relief during disasters, and we work with emergency responders, prearranged and disciplined. We are registered as a recognized group and report to during disaster damage services. This reports to emergency personnel. As I stated before, really one of the critical components of this is that we are covered under workers' comp, and we do have extended liability protection. More spontaneous volunteers may not be covered. Some of them again are insured, And when we do talk to these folks, we encourage them to keep a liability release with them and protect themselves as well as there's room in this world and in disasters for both types of groups. Out there, when things get tough, evacuations take place. Certain organizations. So without an active DSW volunteer base, again, we would no longer be a resource for El Dorado County. Although we were one of the first ones on site because we are the closest, as well as setting up the shelter. Very small base at the time, and all of the local shelter and evacuation. We have members that did both. Some of those members, in fact, were in the evacuation themselves. So, kept busy. If we weren't here, the assistance that the county would have to arrange to come from further out, certainly NAFTA, the county, very, very well run, huge organization. They could be found out much later that they were quite impressed with the way the county ran our evacuation services, sometimes sheriff escort. Particularly not long. So, but it does take a little bit more time to organize these. We do have established protocols with animal services. These are agreements and protocols that we set up over time, and they do change. One for animal pickup. Typically, what will happen if somebody is in a bind and they need help evacuating, we are offering the services directly, and then it's will get in touch with us. Typically, we're on standby before we actually reach that point. We have intake and shelter of animal tracking over at the shelter, so that incorporates intake forms, so we've got pertinent information, care and feed forms, everything that was done, and animals gets handled. We monitor when it's fed, when your stalls are clean, or stop this play records. And if it does get in distress, that's on there, and they are at least have a record of what's happening. Only come up. It helps us track within the shelters and down. Certainly the Caldwell leadership. Certain types came in and had no room for them in other areas. And that tracking them, as far as I know, we didn't use or we're not able to easily use that. So in the event that your evacuation plan is we also have a lot of recognition by local merchants and things in terms of donations, like school, for the schools, Speed was big, Jackson, feed and supply, all kinds of things that needed to be, or that needed, that animal services was not able to necessarily provide all they did. So a time commitment within SCAR is a couple of meetings a year, 2 to 4, some may be training, some just orientation meetings. We do FEMA courses, which is one of the requirements. I'll get into that more. We also have PR opportunities, exactly such as Family Day, as well as the actual call outs and shelter work. So behind the scenes take place at the so the training opportunities that we've handled, we don't do all of this in the year. We have first aid for animal, small animal, first aid, doing first aid, we have fire line training, housing, which is just militarized and understood for us. OES basics, safety, security issues, communication is really in a hard spot for ham radio operators, so if there's anybody that's interested. We also have the FEMA online courses. One course I didn't put up here is PG&E, PG&E safety as well. So here's the FEMA online training. It's required ICS 100 introduction to an incident command system. It shows you the chain of command, shows you where we're at with the product. You basically take instruction and do as we're asked. They have the instances of been able to serve in the car fire, campfire, butte, zoning fire. And one of the biggest problems they have are people that just want to help out and they get stuck or they're having trouble with something and somebody has to go and rescue them. So it's important that you understand your goal. Don't go in that road right now. Let's clear, let's do whatever it is you do. Don't think that what you do is saving the first responder. Happens infrequently, but it is really, really bad news in the mouse. Hardest thing to remember is people, much as we love our animals, they have to take care of their first responder. So we also encourage the ICS 200, 700 forms, these are all available online. The ICS 100 for any disaster service for volunteer is a requirement. Anybody can go online, just look up FEMA ICS 100. It's an interesting, if you're not familiar with it, it's really interesting course. So you have, it's helpful if you love courses, but if you don't have them or if you don't know how to have them, plenty of other things. People that are pilot cars, make sure the roads clear, we have intake, we have care, PR stuff, phone tree for call outs is really critical. And make phone calls, try and keep people in the staging area for evacuation bids, for security, volunteer, check-in. We also use people that are with the database. And in teamwork, of course, we need to work together because it's effective. I have to say, for as stressed as everybody was at Caldor, they were amazing, amazing. They worked well together. We had back in the evening, how quickly some of the 60-plus year olds were involved in 4-foot fencing. Didn't realize we were still that flexible. So, but in the event of a call out, you need to be calm and professional about it. So, pretty much this. In the end, the best evacuation was one shooter. And that's due to really good planning by people. What we try and advocate is evacuate early, evacuate. Far easier said than done. Early when we're dealing with horses, where do you take? I've heard stories all over the map. People thought they had plans. Their plan got evacuated. Their partner that was going to rescue their horses was in the shop. The backup plan, the truck was on family vacation. It's just amazing the things that happen. Thought they were going to evacuate through seldom used back room defense. I never find out. It's amazing the things that you take. Plus, what do you do with 1,000? trying to find space on short notice, trying to find space long term. One little tactic that we're starting to advocate is a temporary evacuation point. Get the animals loaded, get them out, get 5 to 10 miles down the road, find your trailhead parking, just pull over, monitor the situation. Facebook can be a really good place to look for temporary places. And if it's down to liability, have some kind of a written agreement if you need to do that, and make sure you have water. Don't know how long you're going to be sitting by the side of the road. In a lot of cases, I think CAL FIRE in this county is amazing. They don't all work. Fire, but in a lot of cases you can get by with getting down the road. If you've got a family and you've got one parent, you have a household. That's a difficult situation. But it's in place where you can't overcome. If you want to back up real quickly and say also from a statewide perspective, talked a little bit about memo of understanding, and as a state, various parts have gotten together, working with Cal OES, working with California Department of Food and Agriculture. There is a branch called CARES, it's not to be used with the COVID Plague Act, but it's California Animal Rescue Emergency Systems, and it's a certain branch of CDFA that is focusing on that, working in conjunction with Cal OES, some statewide resource plans. About resource planning of the animal rescue people. And coming up with specific criteria and sort of making it a one-stop shop. I think the idea here is that everybody has a basic set of standards. It will be easier for counties, especially those that are out to bring in these resources. And that they can follow. Got a little information back there on that. And I'm definitely here for those of you that have your fire safe councils. First speaker that we can come out. Similar to what we have here, but if you're interested in just strictly evacuation, that is a separate application. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
All right, thank you, Lori, and I apologize, everyone online for the audio challenges today. I don't know, I can't rectify the issue during the meeting, so we're gonna do our best to speak loudly. And so if you have questions for Lori, either here in the room, if you raise your hand, I'll try to repeat the question for those online. And then if you're online, either raise your hand or go ahead and unmute and ask the question, and we'll work to get you some answers. So I'm seeing one hand raised in here. And again, if you have the microphone, just speak extremely close to it.
I was wondering if you could address more specifically having central points of evacuation. In our area, there's like one main road and a lot of dead-end roads coming off of it, but a lot of people, there are several large arena properties with like large covered metal horse arenas. Would those be good places to try to stage evacuations of animals, or how would that work?
That would be between you and the property owner, but yeah, I feel like it's a safe place and you're comfortable with it. Shelter in place is another part of option. Because animal services will be animals that they get stuck behind in the back. They'll go out and they'll do a welfare check if necessary. They'll take feedback there, there's food available on site. First and foremost, is to find the background. We recognize that's not always feasible. every incident is different. You can't say with us what direction the fire is going to go, it's what the spread is going to be. And if you feel safe, if you feel comfortable, if you like, that's the way you do that. Certainly the better the better. One thing that animal services and OES does not advocate is you turn them loose and take a large area, that's better than turning them loose. Run themselves to exhaustion. First responders. And it's
We have a question online from David Zelensky. Go ahead, David, and ask your question.
Oh, thank you. It was a little bit hard to hear, but did I hear you say that David Turoff of Foothill Mobile Veterinary Services was one of your founders?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard it. Dave's great. Thank you.
In fact, he does our large animal first aid.
Yeah, he's amazing. Thank you very much.
So, Lori, we've had a request for your contact information. If you'd be willing to share it online, I will also email it out to folks. But would you be willing to let folks know right now what that is?
Yeah. The email address is info@sklar.org.
And I will go ahead and get that. I will email it out to the group after. I'll work with you to get what we want to send out. I'll take care of
Oh,
that.
and the website, sklar.org.
But Ernie, I have a question here in the room. You need to pass Ernie a microphone.
Hi, a couple of quick ones. I'm with the Grizzly Flat Fire State Council, so you can get the point where I'm coming from. Number one, is it possible for you to send to us the number of animals and what type of animals that came off of the Caldor fire, which you worked on? Because I briefed the Grizzly Flat Fire State Council just to show this combination. So whenever convenient, okay. On to the more important questions. Several years ago, I heard about Noah's Ark, and are you associated with that at all? This was a organization that was trying to gather names of individuals that have animals that need rescue. But I could not follow up on that at all, and I don't know if that organization. In other words, how many horses were up in the Grizzly Flat area in approximate locations of those? But we had not pursued that any further. And is it really advisable to have a list and locations of animals, let's say in a given fire safe council area? But then of course it's the update, horses die, pigs die, so I don't know if it's really appropriate to have a list of locations of animals. You can probably answer that. And my last question, because I often give at an elementary school up there, Grizzly Flat, which no longer exists, well, at the moment, to the kids, the Ready, Set, Go program, and part of it, of course, is evacuation. And two quick comments, because those kids really think about the animals that are, around their house and so on. Two quick things. Number one, the boy says, well, we've got a horse trailer, but 4 flat tires. So, you probably ran across that one. And the other comment was from a little girl who said, I got goldfish. How do I evacuate goldfish? So I'll leave it at that.
Well, first of all, I just really feel badly what happened in Grizzly Flats. I don't know if you were around a couple of years, 4 years now. They were dry run evacuation because I wanted them to see the complex size of this whole form to see Grizzly Flats. As far as Noah's wish and the idea of kind of geolocating animals, Animal Services does have, if you go on their website, you can register their animals or your animals, but again, it's only as good as keeping it updated. We have tried that in the past. And even just coming up with locations for people that would be willing to take animals. Mentioned it's very. Okay. Animal Services.
So the
yeah.
question was, what's the point of contact during an emergency?
Animal
Repeat that
Service.
again, Animal Service.
Yeah, Animal Services, and the number 530-621-5795. Do our
The
best to
the
get
question
horse-
was you addressed sorry, the no animal left behind.
Well, we go out, again, we always go out with either a pilot car or there's always a buddy, there's two of us. We'll do our best and to put the horses in the trailer. If we do need to load, we'll give them about 15 or 20 minutes to load, and if they're just being absolutely having nothing to do with it, we'll find whatever small pets are around. We carry cages with us as well, and we'll get them in the cages and in vehicles and take them out. And we're usually accompanied by Animal Services as well, and the animal control officers. They're on standby, they're on call during this and that emergencies as well, and so got resources. If we can't, we'll let Animal Services know.
I'm looking online. I don't see David. Is that your hand left over from the previous question?
Sorry, Ken, I'll lower it. I forgot. Thank you.
I've not seen anything else online. Well, Lori, first and foremost, I want to thank you for taking the time. This is the first opportunity we've had, really post-pandemic, to start opening our meetings back up to presentations. And so thanks for one being the guinea pig. But two, this is a critically important topic. And I think everybody that experienced the Caldor and the other fires knows in our county how important addressing all of our animal population. And so it's such an important part of what we do. Your programs, the programs of the county, all that together just makes a huge difference. So thank you. Again, we'll be sharing this out. We put it out in the chat, but we'll also send an email out to let folks know that if they want to have you come for 7th Square, come and talk. That would be most appreciated. Thank you. I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move the podium because it's right in my way to see folks. I'm going to turn to Jody to double check that we, as far as we know, do we still have a quorum? That we haven't lost anyone. Okay. Outstanding. I'll move the podium off here briefly. Turn my video back on. Okay, so next up, and I want to know if is Janine Stiles in the room by chance? Janine. Oh, she's not. You are representing. And you are. Would you be willing to say a few things? So on our agenda for new business, item D is Greenstone Country Fire Safe Council formation. And I know we've teased this in some previous meetings, but Greenstone has officially submitted all of their paperwork prior to today's meeting, and we wanted to give them an opportunity to speak, but then at the same time, we have it on the agenda to put before the board, bringing Greenstone on board as an additional associate fire safe council. So I will turn the floor over to you. If you could reintroduce yourself into the microphone and just give us a quick overview of what
Well, my name's Donna Ray Cabo, and I'm on the HOA board of Greenstone. And Jimmy, I'm so glad decided to help set this up for us. I don't have time to be on the HOA board. But we're happy to be involved in this. We feel like we've been encouraged by you guys, by the council, as a whole. Feeling like we're pretty far ahead of some of the other people that I've listened to their community. So we're gonna see what we can do to help out. We did have a question. We understand that there's new curriculum being worked on for evaluator training of home hardening. Is that true? Somebody's working on curriculum for home hardening.
And I saw Alice come in earlier. So I will turn it over to her because yes, we've got a number of things we're working on bringing together. Alice.
We were wondering the ETA of that curriculum.
It's interesting you mentioned it. We did, 5 of us just finished a training, actually maybe it's 6, I see someone else here. A training over the weekend on defensible space and home hardening, and it's put on by the National Volunteer Fire Safe Council. It was sponsored by the California Fire Safe Council. And so we just went through that over the weekend. And so some of us are officially certified, but the plan is to now bring that same thing to everybody here in the county. And so it's pretty new, and so I don't have an ETA yet, but it's coming.
And the other thing, we understand that we need to put on a couple programs, 2 programs a year to our community.
I think there may be some crossover here with some of the requirements for the Firewise communities as well. And so I think merely by what you've established your board, you've met the bylaws and the requirements to be an associate fire safe council. And then your continued engagement in that process meets that. But there are these other additional opportunities that are there. And that's one of the programs we've been helping support, help communities, whether they're a fire safe council or not, is to achieve their Firewise USA status. And there are some requirements that go with that. So we're happy to sit down at any point and work through with you and the members of your council on what those kinds of things are and how we can help.
I think that's it. Any other questions?
Any questions here?
Oh, it's between Green Valley and Lotusville. It's not 3 miles, about a mile from Green Valley Church. It's a gated community. It says Greenstone Country on the side. Originally a full country. We have about 327.
Well, again, it's another opportunity where communities are engaging, seeing opportunity to help make their part of our county more resilient. And so certainly it's welcome to see the grassroots.
We also, I should point out, there's a separate group within there. They're just some of the people that have horses in the community, which is not very many of them. Less than 20% now have horses, but they have their own little kind of an emergency plan to help each other out in case that trailer's got a flat tire or that truck and trailer are on vacation. But I know for myself, like several of us, including myself, I have a pasture. Last year, my pasture, I reached out to some people in the Albert Fire, basically that area, and said, hey, got room. Hey, but bring your horses over here. So we are also available to help those that are farther out.
And that's literally what this is all about. So, okay, I'm looking around the room to the board. Any other, or online, any other questions or discussion for Greenstone? Okay, with that, I'd like to put before the board all those in favor of bringing Greenstone Country on board under the umbrella of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council as an associate fire safe council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thumbs up from Chris. Thank you. Any opposition to bringing Greenstone in as an associate? Okay, the motion is passed. Obviously sitting down and working with you all on the various programs. our community. So next up, okay, we're going to run through these. I have just a brief report under informational items, number 7, under chair's report. So we had an opportunity. Pat Dwyer reached out, and a local community museum foundation in Placerville has put together a nonprofit center in the old post office on Main Street next to the courthouse. And Pat connected us up with Fred Ott, who's one of the board members, and I believe Chris Payne is also a board member on that museum organization. So they're building a nonprofit center. They've offered up office space to nonprofits in that facility. So all the members of the executive board stopped by, took a look at that facility, and we'd like to move forward. We've talked to the folks there at the Museum Foundation or group about what that would look like, entering into an agreement for a year to consolidate our office location at that spot. And a number of reasons why we've been considering this. One is as we continue to pursue a replacement for Jody and move forward, one of the requirements, and we've been fortunate because Jody's had a relationship with Rescue Fire, and it's been an opportunity to share space there. But long term, we recognize we've got to kind of make some changes moving forward with on board under our help contract with Blue Ribbon. Blue Ribbon's out researching and they're gathering some candidates. It's been challenging for just like it is in the workspace for everyone to get folks interested, but they are working diligently to bring forward some candidates for us for the board. With that in mind, one of the provisions they indicate is you really need to have an identified workspace. We can certainly make arrangements unofficially for working from home, et cetera, but at the end of the day, it was our concern and commitment that we would, have a facility that was ensured that we can ensure that we had a specific work location identified and provided that opportunity to a prospective employee of Blue Ribbon. And then, of course, Blue Ribbon then has to certify all of the workers' compensation and all of the pieces that go with that. So for us, it was important to ensure we had a very strong commitment and a strong foundation. Because unfortunately, we're losing the long-term relationship we had with Jody, and she's just done an amazing job with that relationship with us. And making this work for us. So space is available beginning August 1st, and we'd like to move forward with that. Again, it's a 1-year obligation, and we can reevaluate as we go forward. Again, I know if any other members of the executive board want to weigh in, having seen it, any comments, thoughts? I just think it's oh, yes, sorry. So the rent for the space is $350 a month, and the museum provides internet, electricity, water, bathrooms, all of those facilities. They are currently working on upgrading, restoring the interior. So there's carpeting, paint, all of those things are being upgraded over time. Their goal is to recover the cost to operate the facility and no more. It's very important for them to be able to offer this as low cost as possible to nonprofits. So again, obviously that pencils out $350 times 12 over the course of the year. And our commitment, our desire was to enter that 1 year and then renew and go forward. So I've got a couple of questions online. I know definitely want Chris to weigh in. I see Alice has a comment. Let's start here and then I'll go to Chris.
But you mentioned before, Kat, that with this comes a meeting room that's available, and is that actually available to other fire state councils or just the main?
No, well, and again, Chris may have some more background on the overall facility, but I will tell you, they have a meeting room there. They're building, they're remodeling that, but obviously it's a shared space with lots of the other nonprofit organizations that are there. So I think it's limited. We may be able to utilize that once a month, but at this point don't envision that it's going to be a shared space beyond just the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council business. But then again, don't forget, we also have this facility twice a month in the afternoons, both after this, our regular board meeting and after e-board, we have full access to this really guaranteed each month. So there's some other opportunities. if you need to do that. Let me go to Chris Payne online.
Thank you, Ken, for explaining. The name of the organization is El Dorado Gold 1848. That should kind of perk everybody up to the history part of it. El Dorado Gold 1848 began with the Board of Supervisors selling the old post office at 515 Main Street. It's right across the street from the courthouse. They did that in November of 2020. Excuse me, it was more like March of 2021. But what I wanted to say was we appreciate the fact that the El Dorado County Fire Safety Council will finally have their own space. It is just large enough, I believe, for administratively for us to be able to do it. And again, any votes taken, I'll abstain because of my connection with, as a board member and also the vice president of this organization. As to the question about space, we are definitely going to be monetizing the spaces within the building for meetings and for other arrangements, whether it's small or larger. As you know, Ken, you had your tour on the main floor where it used to be where people came in to do their business. That's open space now, and we'll continue to be working on that to make it better. Audio, visually, it's going to be a really nice space. So those are my comments today. Obviously, I hope the rest of the board goes along with this proposal. Thanks.
Thank you. It's a good point you raised. It is a bit, obviously, it's a work in progress. The office is very occupiable and functional, but as they continue to build out the space, there'll be shared copier services. There will be services that the 8 nonprofits that will share the downstairs space all have access to. So again, we'll be able to pay as we go with copy needs and those sort of things going along. So let me hit David Zielinski online, and then I'll go to Ernie.
Thanks, Ken. And Ken and Chris, is this the building where the district attorney used to be?
Correct, yes.
All right. So my concern is they fled that building, and went to remodeled the other building. And so is it safe? In other words, they used to be working and the ceiling would fall on their work papers. Have you done all the work, Chris, to get it nice and safe now?
To the question, yes. The roof has been fixed. We do have a mail service now to the building that'll go along with the suite that you will be that this organization will be occupying. But the answer to your question, it is very safe. Yes.
Yeah, you and I walked to the building, and you, obviously, with the lens of fire safety in mind, had a number of questions for the folks there, Fred and others, ensuring that, yes, confirmed that El Dorado County Fire has inspected the building, provided several items to upgrade, which have been done. And again, we've been sort of directly in contact with Fred Ott, who is sort of representing the building sort of administration, if you will.
Ken, just to say that there have been exit signs now put in, fire extinguishers have been approved by the local fire district. All of these kinds of things that create the public safety have either been done and in place right now or are being done right now.
Thank you for answering the questions. I'm excited to see the building rehabbed. Thank you.
Yeah. So the question Ernie asks, are we keeping the PO box in Diamond Springs? So yeah, I would propose no changes in the immediate future, right? I think that's something we would want to consider over time. Because the mail is delivered literally right there. I mean, it's sign would be Suite 103. It's right there as you walk in. So I think over time, would be much more convenient to have all of our mail in one place and not have everyone chasing around to get it. But we also recognize the PO box is on every one of our documents, agreements, all of that. So I think there would have to be a transition period, you know, and so we would propose not changing many of those things immediately. Pat,
having a physical address is for some of the federal registration, the DUNS and the SAM. Currently have Steve's home address on there. So it's good for us to have a no kidding physical address that we can now put on those agreements and documents so that the sheriff doesn't come arrest Steve. Very important.
looking around, any other thoughts, comments? There you go.
So I just wanted to say that I was one of the record, and I 100% agree with it. So, my question for
Yeah, I was on the tour also, and it's a Spartan space, but you know what? It's a space for us, and it's a place where we can actually get some stuff done, and I think it moves the organization to the next level. That's important.
Janet Berenson, this is one thing that I think is a good thing with it. We've got some filing space in it, so some of documents can be all coordinated and centralized into one spot rather than everybody's closet at home.
Is the plan to move some of the physical items from rescue there too? Everything?
Yes, I mean, we've got to make an assessment, of course, to determine, I mean, I know there's a lot there. One of the discussions we had with the museum folks is, you know, what are our options? There's storage space within the office itself that can certainly take a lot of that. We just need to make an assessment to determine what else we need a space for and work with the museum to see how we do that. But yes, the idea being we would like to get everything out centrally located where it can be accessible so folks can get to it. Oh, Chris, thank you, Chris. You put the on 515 Main Street. And the proposed suite is Suite 103. That's in the chat. And then from Deborah, Ken, is there a job announcement for the Jody replacement and other openings that you'd like to share with the community? We didn't actually see the job announcement from Blue Ribbon. They put it out through Nancy Claire told us yesterday, it went out through a number of the job search programs. And so it's out on the street now. We can certainly share the job description that we presented. So we're happy to do that. And I guess I would encourage everybody here in the room and online, if you know of someone that's interested, recognizing that, you know, this has been a challenging environment to match people with different jobs, you know, exist right now. But at the end of the day, it's about a 15-hour-a-week opportunity. I think the base is $2 for starting out, and it, you know, hoping that there's a nice so that they get worked out. Because of the challenges in trying to get filled, our priority was to focus on the new clerks so that we hope to have some time to transition with Jody, and then our next phase is try to get some help in the grant support before Pat goes over the edge on us. So we're but Nancy set that one aside so we could get this foundation going. So, but I will not say it's slim pickings, but I will say it would be nice to have a broader candidate pool. And so again, if you know of folks that might be interested at all, They can reach out to any of the executive board, or they can, the number they can contact me directly, and I'll do a follow-up and get that out. David, your hand's up, or is that a lingering hand? All right.
No, the correct zip code, Chris, is 95667. Hopefully we got that correct. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was Diamond Springs. That's mine.
Yeah.
I see Deborah had her hand up. Sorry, Deborah, go ahead.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, glad to hear that the announcement is being, I could not find it. And I think there's a tremendous amount of talent, including people who would like to work just 15 hours a week for whatever reason, that are more experienced. That I think if community members were aware of it, there's a tremendous amount of talent, administrative talent, and also grant talent in our communities that would not be looking at a whiteboard or other job listing. They would, it's a word of mouth type of connection. And they may not be interested in a grant position until they heard it was going to be so involved with our community. So I'd love to get this out to off, not just the job boards, although I could not find it, but to just word of mouth. Thank you.
Very much appreciate that, Deborah. And points well taken. We will follow up and one, make sure everybody has it here so you can share it out, but also confirm that it's actually being posted. That was kind of the second item I was going to address, because I let you all know where we're on with the status of that, and we continue to be diligent working with Blue Ribbon, and we will. We have big shoes to fill, so it's about finding the right person. So if it takes a little extra time, and we may struggle a bit as Jody's transitioning, but we do have her for another month and a half. So we are going to. She's been gracious to continue to keep really staying engaged. But we want to do the right thing by the organization. So we'll keep that search going with all of your help. But backing up to the office space, I did put this as an official vote item, but it was important to me to have the discussion with all of you and make sure that we're good, get the feeling from the group, and maybe just a general flavor of you're comfortable with us going forward and working with the museum. So putting that back out, is anyone not in favor of us moving forward based on the discussion that we've had?
I'll move we do it.
I see Alice. Turn your microphone on.
I think, no, I'm not trying to say no. I think it's a fabulous idea, but just a very simple question. Do we have enough money?
Yeah, so obviously we don't do anything without that part. And we have some very, we have, I would say, the hard conversations all the time when we make a decision like this. And we've been putting some expenses on the table, unlike we've done in the past. And what's important, and Janet, can certainly talk about it at the budget, but we've got to make some decisions going forward as how we're going to manage the workload that we have. We have almost $10 million in grants that are sitting in some phase that we're managing. We have to be diligent to project, and that's our income, the administration that comes from the grants that we're overseeing and managing. And so we have to continue to be diligent to project out, over the next 3 years to ensure that we have that income coming in. And remember, it's just because we have the money sitting there as grants, all the income comes to us based on the expenditures that occur within the grants that get approved. So every month and every year that goes by, it's all dependent upon the work that gets done, the invoices that are generated, and then the administrative fees that come back from that. And so we have to be able to estimate over 3 years, each year, what we think work's going to accomplish and then what we're going to see from that. And then now we can project out. And obviously, we're in a great opportunity now in this climate with lots of grants and opportunities in this space. And we also know that can change. And we know where everyone's concerned about the economy and where we see things going with recession. and inflation. And so all of that factors in. But right now, and the projections over the next several years are we have a strong commitment from these grants that we have the money, and the money needs to support our operation while still being conservative to ensure we continue to keep going forward. And the E-board was very comfortable. And this equates to about $4,000 over the, 350 times 12. And again, 1 year. We were very clear that to go forward, we want to do it just 1 year and then we can reevaluate. We also recognized we were putting together positions. We're adding a grants position every time. That's going to bring back obviously some additional expenses. We've highlighted those and daylighted those in the budget for the coming year. Again, all of it's taken very seriously, but obviously very upfront with all of you. But we've got to provide, we've got the funding now, and we've got to provide the support to this organization to do what we do. We can't, we've got to grow a little bit with it as we go. Okay, so again, I can make, I'm just going to go forward and just do this basically. And again, I don't need to take a formal motion, but again, anybody in opposition to moving forward, please. Okay, having said that, thank you very much. We will keep the board informed as this goes forward and challenges or issues. And if you have other questions, comments that come up over time, please don't hesitate to give them those. Okay, Hugh had to step out today, so no vice chair's report. Karen. Oh, microphone.
So I don't really have
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Moving down, Janet, treasurer's report.
So microphone lessons are coming. So I want to thank everybody for your patience as I've started to take over the treasurer's information. I've worked really closely with Maureen, and I'm very thankful that she's been very accommodating as we've worked through this transition. She tells me that she's on retainer from pre packet is the latest financial report and also the latest proposed budget for the coming fiscal year. The salary information that Ken talked about for recruiting for the additional grants position, Maureen had already added that in the last time you saw that information. The only change to the proposed budget is the amount that is included for the rent for the new office that Ken just spoke about. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm working through it. I may not have an answer for you today, but I will get it.
The budget items, the treasury report was included in the meeting packet. So with that, any comments or questions relative to the treasury report? Hearing none here in the room, seeing none online. With that, I'd like to go ahead and all those in favor of approving the treasurer's report as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you, Janet. The treasurer's report is approved. And following up with Maureen, she's on a well-deserved vacation this week, so she wasn't able to attend the meeting, but he's been in contact with her as well as Janet. And they're hoping that we'll have her at the next meeting and take her to lunch for anybody who wants to go afterwards. So more to come there. Okay, so if we could now just get into sort of run through our partners reports. I'm looking online. I don't see missing anybody from BLM. Do you have anybody in the CAL FIRE. I see Megan in the room. Hi, Megan. Yeah, just steal a mic.
All right, I just have a couple quick highlights today that I'll keep this quick. So our foresters in the unit have been busy control and fixing of other damage that we've caused with heavy equipment while putting the fire out. And then we were also able to create and improve a few dirt roads that were damaged during suppression activities. And so that's part of our repair, is trying to re-improve access roads where possible. So we were able to complete that. And then this is the time of year where our resource management staff are completing the cone survey. And I'm mentioning this because it's related to our reforestation center in Davis, which has our seed bank and our nursery. And a fun fact is it's the only nursery in the state which provides seedlings available to the public for purchase. So it's instrumental in reforesting a lot of areas damaged after fire on public and private land. So our foresters go out and evaluate the species and elevation of different cones, and that's how they decide to collect the seed and keep it in the seed bank for the next area that needs to be reforested. End of the report, unless anyone has any questions.
Thanks, Megan. Next up, the Office of Wildfire Preparedness and Resilience, El Dorado County. Juliet.
Good morning. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Just a few highlights of what's going on in our office. First, we have an open recruitment for a leadership position in our office. It's for a deputy CAO classification. So that recruitment is slated to end at the end of the month. So we'll see where that takes us. We have the inspections in our county emphasis areas. Those are going on in the Union Mine area of Diamond Springs and also in Rescue. So those inspections are going to be performed by El Dorado Hills Fire Department on our behalf. They've completed their community meetings about these, and so the inspections are set to start August 1st in the Union Mine area and August 15th in Rescue. They have also posted signs around these areas so that folks who are, who live there or coming by will be prepared to see the presence of those inspections occurring. And last but not least, we are continuing to work on our grant application. We're working on a hazard mitigation grant application with Cal OES and FEMA. That is for the project in the Texas Hill Weber Creek area. Right now, we're just in the request for information process, responding to these various requests for just clarifying details with Cal OES. And hopefully by the end of the summer, we will move on to the next step and see where that goes. So that's all I've got. If anyone has any questions, I'm open to take them. Awesome.
Thanks, Juliet. Okay, I don't see anyone on from the El Dorado County Fire Chiefs Association. And I know that Ron Phillips is on vacation representing the FBOs, but I do see someone online from El Dorado Hills Fire. So I don't know if is there anyone covering a report for the Fire Prevention Office.
Good morning. I don't have a board report for the fire prevention officers. I just wanted to come in and introduce myself. I'm Krishana Fields, the new fire marshal here at El Dorado Hills Fire. I am taking over the seat that Ron Phillips had held for us for quite some time. Just wanted to have an opportunity to come into this meeting to see what you guys are talking about, to introduce myself. I actually had an exposure, which is why I wasn't there in person. So just wanted to actually be able to be here, but I unfortunately don't have a report for you yet, but I will be providing that report for you moving forward.
Awesome. Well, welcome, and we will make sure to get you on the mailing list and look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you all.
Can't hear you. There you go.
I couldn't hear you either. Actually, I have a question. I'm sorry, back to CAL FIRE and the inspections. Is there a timeline that I can find out, like when they're coming to Omo Ranch, anything like that? Like, do you know when you're going to be doing these inspections?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I will find out and get back to you on that one.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you. Okay, El Dorado National Forest.
Hello, my name is Jacoby Waters. I've just accepted the job as the Forest Assistant Fire Management Officer, Drive Fuels. And I come from the Tahoe National Forest, long history working with fire safe councils. I just left over there. I helped get a CPI grant through CAL FIRE for $5 million. We've been working with grants with them for a while and other associated corporations to get grants for the forest, and we've done hundreds, working on thousands of acres of hazardous fuel reduction in the Nevada County area. So now I bring that over to El Dorado County. I'm with you guys now, so I'll be your contact from here on forward, and hopefully we can get some good work going on. And I know that there's a lot of hazardous fuels we want to make sure that don't come up and burn up and get rid of the catastrophic fires that ever happen in this area, and I plan to be a big part of that. So welcome.
Thank you, Jacoby, and we'll be adding you to our list and be knocking on your door. So thank you and welcome. I have David Slinsky raising his hand. David.
Oh, thanks, Ken. I just want to translate that county report. It said Weber Creek and Texas Hill, but that'll include Sacramento Hill too, the south side of Placerville.
That is correct. It's essentially going to grant that the county's applying for will run from Sacramento Hill to Texas Hill, and it incorporates both the Placerville and Texas Hill Fire Safe Councils along with some other areas.
Thank you, Kim. Make sure I understood. Thank you.
So Mark and I have been playing phone tag, Mark Egbert and I, so he indicated he could not be here, but I don't know if Maya, do you have any updates from the world of the RCD and your travels there? Thank you.
My name's Maya. I am the fire safety coordinator. I'm employed by the RCD. I have a couple of updates for RCD operations, and then since the El Dorado County Fire Safety Council is a technical advisor to my position, I would like to update the group on what I've been doing so far. So first, with the RCD operations, Phase B of Fire Adapted 50 is underway. They are doing pre-ops meetings and field assessments this week. Additionally, in Grizzly Flats with the Halvor Emergency Force Recovery Team, if they're not starting it this week, they're starting next week to do biological and archaeological surveys in active areas. And with Sierra and Tahoe, work has been going like crazy. We're going to start seeing logs come off the mountain in the next couple weeks, and it should be like 50 logging trucks every day for the next 90 days. There's a lot of action. As far as my position as fire safety coordinator is concerned, this is going into my third month in the position. I have been working on connecting with the community as my schedule allows. There are a number of groups I haven't been with yet, but they're on my radar, and I look forward to seeing what everybody has going on. The purpose of the interaction is to understand what groups are doing in parts of the county, how they may be helpful to other parts of the county, how do we create a census of work that's ongoing, and how do we streamline fire protection work in the county through local organizations and ultimately hopefully with guidance. And so to this point, it's been information gathering. Moving into the next phase, I hope to have some information to defend that will be useful the Fire Safety Council and the RCD work to create and hopefully
we are. Thank you, Maya. Okay, so I spoke with Eric Brown at SMUD, and he's been doing double duty in multiple different jobs, and he hopes to be able to get his schedule adjusted here in the coming months. He actually wants to come back and give us a presentation and update on SPUD activities, which he had committed to earlier in the year and really wants to do. So I really shared with Eric, we understand, we get it, and we just welcome him back when he has that chance to do that. So look for more from Eric in the coming months. Next up, our very own Mike Webb.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Mike Webb, Public Safety Specialist at PG&E. Briefly, I know we have been experiencing some of our EPSS outages. I want to reinforce that we have completely rolled that program out to over 1,000 circuits, covering over 25,500 miles of distribution lines throughout the what we call the tier 2 and tier 3 high risk fire areas in the state. So we are in full implementation of EPSS. We have had a number of repeat outages in El Dorado County. I can tell you that those outages were due to things impacting the lines, and the system worked as designed. The challenge is the actual physical patrol that has to occur prior to re-energization of the lines. So when we think about our circuits here in El Dorado County, one of the longest circuits in the entire system is the circuit that serves South El Dorado County. It's the Apple Hill 2102 is what it's formally called. It is 375 miles of distribution line. So our effort to restore that in 6 to 8 hours is very challenging. Those are our goals. And so as the line, it has a lot of exposure to opportunities to be impacted. It also takes a tremendous amount of manpower to physically inspect and patrol and re-energize. So we continue to work to segment that line into smaller sections and portions. And we also are working to tune up the settings, which I think have already been done. I think that's already been in place. So we recognize the balance between public safety and reliability, and we understand the impacts for customers. So at the end of the day, we're already trending at about 50%. Overhead lines are inherently cause ignitions of fires, whether either directly or indirectly, and we are trending way below 3-year averages and definitely way below any ignitions that occurred last year. So it's working, but we understand the frustrations with reliability, and we continue to keep that front and center on our focus is to reduce those impacts on customers. The second thing I did want to mention is the enhanced vegetation management work that is also going on throughout the county. We are getting numerous escalations from customers, primarily revolving around customers that have completed their defensible space work for the year. And then they have tree crews that will come through and leave material behind within the defensible space. So I will reinforce, Mike's quick tips on dealing with vegetation contractors is: 1, you have to be engaged with them from the beginning. Make sure that you understand what they're asking to do. And then 3, be directive about the work and where the material is going. And if you do not support that work, then refuse it, and you will be contacted by a supervisor. And that's to the point where you can hopefully resolve proactively some of those issues, as opposed to having material left behind that you either create risk or unable to deal with physically, or what other limitations there may be. So just stay engaged, be directive, and if it's not going your way, ask to speak with a supervisor and continue to be proactive. So outside of that, those are the 2 items I want to report on, and I'll stay after if there's any sidebar conversations or questions.
Thank you, Mike. And I know that the outages have been a challenge for the community and frustrating for folks, understandably. But I also, the glass is half full side of me says those were maybe 6 fires at least, right? And so we're all trying to work to the same end game. It's been tough getting there, but you get it.
Yeah, so I call a restoration supervisor and hey, Lee, give me a rundown. It's a squirrel. It's a line. It's a line slap from a vegetation crew that got too close. I mean, every one of them were legitimate, things contacting the lines, and the system worked. Like I said, that shutdown is eliminating a potential issue for wildfire.
I see we have one question online, Sherry Hawk.
Hi, thank you, Ken. Hi, Mike. You did touch on a point that has been coming up here in Goldridge Forest very often to me. The residents are having difficulties with the contractors, stating that no, they're leaving the brush or wood or tree behind. They're not moving it to an area that they want it to be moved to. Some of the residents are refusing. The other problem that we're having that I'm hearing, and so far has been refused by residents, is dropping into our green belts that we just cleaned up. And we're spending thousands and thousands of more dollars to clean up. And so I'm wondering, I do have your contact information, but I'm just, when I hear this, it saddens me because it's a lot of money we've spent. So what's the best, if I hear that from a resident that contractors are dropping into the green belt, do I reach out directly to you or do I just call the PG&E numbers?
So I do not work in the vegetation management line of business. I am a safety specialist, and I can cross all of our lines of business to escalate serious issues and hopefully get the right people put together to solve a problem. My recommendation for you is to use, there is a new email and new 800 phone number for vegetation specific issues, and I'll share that right now. The email address is treesafety@pge.com. And the 800 number is 1-800-564-5080. I'll say that again, 800-564-5080.
Great.
And
Thank you.
To be specific, if name, address, phone number, and then a great detailed description of what the issue is. So, hopefully that will bring some attention to your issue. And then if those things aren't being successful, then you could reach out to me and I could help put someone in supervisors engaged in those conversations.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the work being done too. Just saying.
Thanks, Sherry, and thank you, Mike, as always. One more question.
Another kind of question, comment. I know occasionally you fly helicopters along the line to check the line, which is great. But out in some rural areas, you're flying so low. And I suppose what you call it, have to fly really low, stay there a long time, it's terrorizing livestock. And I've had a couple neighbors injured in livestock really, and ran over them. Is there any way you could give us a heads up that you're going to be flying lines?
So typically, if we're patrolling with helicopters, it's due to an outage. The outages are, we don't know when those are going to happen. So that would be very difficult to be proactive in that regard. But I can elevate that issue to our helicopter operations and just make sure that awareness is with the pilots and that they, they're hopefully have some visual acuity of what's going on the ground and they're not creating those situations if they recognize it early. I don't know what else to offer, but I'll report back.
Okay, so next up, PDSO Officer OES. I don't see target there. And then Ken just committed the political faux pas by leaving Supervisor Harlan at the end of this list. Oh, I see she's still there, but she did not have any report. But I do want to thank you, Supervisor, for being online with us. And, texted that she's good to go and seated. So with that, item 8, public comment. And so I welcome anybody that's here that wants to, again, very briefly provide any information a report from, please do so now. Yes, in the back.
Yeah, my name is Russ Bear. I'm the owner of Blaze Busters. We do ground applied long-term fire retardant properties for fire prevention. I know that fire safety councils don't endorse businesses, but there are other businesses such as mine and other ones out there that do the same thing. I know that there's a lot of information that the public needs for defense, house hardening, for businesses, residential, anything that might need protection. Just in the dealing with them, there's a lot of people that don't even know our services even exist to begin with. So I know you guys talk with a lot of the public, you're engaging with the public. They're probably asking what resources may be out there. If perhaps a conversation comes up, let people know that they can get online, Google, do a search, that there are companies out there like us. We can come out and assess the properties, take a look at what they've done for the defensive space, and help them out even more, protect their properties. Retardants we use are Forest Service approved. They are used for fighting fires and fire prevention. So just want to introduce ourselves and say if you'd just like to get the word out that these services are available, whether it's us or anybody else. It's an asset that they can use. Thank you.
I not a member of the public, well, I guess he is, but David, since you guys, your hands up.
Didn't know when to say it, but since Maya was up, RCD, including Mark Egbert and also Heather Campbell, showed up, and there was a tour given by RCD to the Camino Fire Safe Council of various projects up in Camino. And I didn't know if Maya wanted to say anything more about that.
She's good. She doesn't have any more background on that, David.
Golly,
I mean, anything new to offer there, David, beyond, I mean, I think y'all are familiar with the project.
okay, it was just to it was just to show us some work that's been done and some frustrations with individuals not letting us do work. So that was about it. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. Michelle, did I see your hand up or are you good?
I'm waiting for number 9.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I think looking in the room and online, I think we are closed public comment and we will move on to number 9. And since you have the floor, let's just start with Omar.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay? I just wanted to mention that I have resigned. I think a few people know I resigned as the chair of Omaha Ranch Fire Safe Council, and we have voted in. So our new chairman is Julie Winya. I've known Julie for quite a long time. I'm not sure if she's there or not, but she we've known each other for a bit, both volunteering on the fire department and the fire council. She just recently was our treasurer. And she has a really great background. She's worked with RCD, Mark Egbert. She's a biologist, arborist. She was at the campfire for a year or more after that working. So she's got a lot of background that's going to be very helpful. She's really excited about it. So I am too. And we get to have our first meeting with her this Saturday as the chair. I'm not going to go too far. I'll still be with El Dorado Fire Safe Council Board of Directors for at least another year. And we'll see how that goes. And then I'm also going to be working in Omaha Ranch as the outreach and education chair. So still be totally involved with everybody. And I just wanted to make sure Julie got an introduction. And her email is pretty much the same as mine, is Julie, Julie, @orfsc.org. So Julie, there we go. Thank you all.
Thank you, Michelle, for all the work you've been doing at OMO. And I don't know, Julie, if you wanted to say anything. All I know is I met Julie out on Mount Auckland Road. I put $20 in to fill the boot in the boot for her. So, in any event, I don't know if you want to say anything, Julie, or. So do we, but thank you. Chris Patterson online. Or Chris, says Chris and Patterson, right?
Well, I haven't told anybody that I'm at Lake Tahoe right now. And I'm looking out over the lake and how clear it is. And it's a few degrees cooler up here, like maybe 15. So anyway, that wasn't my report though. My report was that I don't know if how many of you know Hargos. They used to be in chipping and they have landscaping. But anyway, I just had them do my property. So I just wanted to let you know that they are available now for land management, and getting a quote from them, since they're a Somerset area company. So they're in the South County. The other thing that I wanted to remind everybody that I am a planning commissioner for the county, District 2. George Turnbull has appointed me. So I'm keeping up with what's happening in the South County, and I'm quite impressed with the activities that are going on, Ken. You know the area that is your area. So I appreciate the comments today. That's my report. Thank you.
So, Sherry, I see your hand up.
I just wanted to let everyone know we had our evacuation preparedness event on June 26th. I know Lori Page was there, so thank you, Lori, if you're still there in the building. Fantastic presentations by Animal Services, and of course, SLAR, as well as Greg Almos from OES. Most of the discussion was around the new alert system, but also, just being prepared. There was a lot of great discussion. The best part of it was that we had about 50 attendees this year, which was less than last year. But when asked to raise their hand if they were new residents or if they had ever attended an event, the majority had not. So we got some really great education out to them. Heather and Jay Chop were there. Of course, our neighborhood radio watch. Anyway, it was just a really, really great event. And if anybody has any questions or needs contacts to have your own event, I'm happy to pass that on. A lot of great, it was just a really, really great day for new residents, especially to learn what evacuation is all about in El Dorado County. Thank you. That's all I have.
Looking around the room, any other topics? Karen?
Oh, so Mosquito Bridge is closed for maintenance, so everyone will have to take 193 to
Houghton Heights.
But everyone is invited. It's a free luau. We'll have full sport, barbecue, teriyaki, lots of great events.
Thank you, Karen. Any others? Thank you for that. So moving on to 10, we have no old business this month. So item 11, program reports. Chicken program.
Chipping is still running fine. We did 69 cups in. Wrights Lake, Dark Lake Fire Safety has today for August 15th, and I already have probably 8 or 10 applications for that. Grizzly Flats also has a chicken day coming up August 1st that they've scheduled. That's it.
Outstanding. Defensible space, Ernie.
Just a couple of quick notes. Right now, there's been 133 evaluations that have been completed, and 66 defensible jobs have been completed. We're on track.
Thank you, Ernie.
I've been hearing rumors
is in the chute, not program day. Have
So,
I missed that window again? Or
well, here's where it sits, Maya. The existing funding, obviously, as everybody remembers, the window was very close, very tight. So, and we have more funding in it this year than we had in several previous years, but the window lasted about,
No.
and that includes,
Yes.
that including.
Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised. I almost-
Chris, go on mute. Okay.
All right.
I had to.
I know. Yeah, he's on the beach somewhere at Lake Tahoe. So, no, short version of it is.
I'm back, you guys. Just a second.
The short answer is we provided, we had initial funding in the program. It lasted about 2 days before we had to close. We redirected some existing Title III funds that we had to bolster the number of jobs. I think that bought us about 3 more days in the application window. And I think that was approximately $130,000 that we were working in the various grants. So what Ernie's talking about now is we're completing the jobs from that original amount. Subsequent to that time, we've been working with El Dorado County and through some discussions with the CAO's office and the sheriff, there is an additional $126,000 in Title III funds that the county Board of Supervisors has appropriated to the Fire Safe Council to continue defensible space work. But the money hasn't officially transferred yet, so we haven't gone out with any announcement. We also want to make an evaluation of where we're at in fire season to see if it's really appropriate to be funding more defensible space projects while we're at the peak. So once the funding is available to us, then we'll make a determination. Potentially, we're looking at either the fall or maybe next spring. We'll have to sit down and make that determination. We don't want to get anybody's hopes up. But yes, the funding is available for that. Once it comes to us, we'll make a decision. Project reports, nothing new on the, Juliet provided the update on the Wildfire Resilience Working Group and the Office of Wildfire Resiliency. We continue to work on building the organizational structure and we'll have more coming out on that, working with the partners here in the coming weeks. Item 12B, SOFAR project. I added sort of lumped Tamara and David together here, knowing we're consolidating.
Do you want me to go, Ken? I don't know. All right. So one of the big things on SOFAR is the Caldor reforestation. So there was a 6-hour seminar that a number of us attended with about 50 management recommendations from various scientists and foresters. And then we took a field trip in Amador County to see the Power Fire footprint and how those implementations have been going. Becky Estes, the forest ecologist for 4 different, the province, which includes El Dorado National Forest, was the leader on all of that. So that's the big thing on SOFAR. SOFAR also does biomass. I know Chris will be talking about, but I'm not sure if Chris makes the biomass SOFAR meetings, and hopefully Chris will. So if he doesn't, anyway, is that enough so far, I think?
Yes, thank you. Tampa, I think backpacking this week is not available, but you want to just roll right into a quick update on the wrap while we have you.
Oh, yes, on RAC, and I don't know if Lester's there. He's also on it, but one of the more interesting things for the Fire Safe Council is among the RAC grants that was given, it's called Sierra Pines, and it's a homeowners association right on the border of the El Dorado National Forest up at Echo Summit. And because there was shared losses during Caldor and shared facilities and everything else, it qualified for a RAC grant. So if you're bordering the El Dorado National Forest, a lot of the communal folks are hodgepodged into El Dorado National Forest, you might be able to qualify for a RAC grant. So that homeowners association did qualify and did, will get funding. So that's probably the most Fire Safe Council-y thing I can tell you for RAC.
Thanks, David. Okay, item 12D, County Biomass Working Group. Chris, anything new to report there?
You know, Ken, his connection might be bad, but there will be a meeting in August, and we continue to have a separate, so far, biomass meeting group. And so we're optimistic we'll someday have a co-located plant up in Camino at the old Sierra Pacific Mill, and they have a lot of products coming out and run it off of biomass waste. So that's where we're headed, and that's what we keep planning for.
Perfect. Thank you, David, for that. Committee reports 13A, grants and funding. Pat Dwyer.
Hey, Grants Committee, awarded CAL FIRE grants are starting to actually trickle in the contracts. I just got notice this morning that the tree mortality hazard tree removal agreement is available for our signature. Then we have to send it back to CAL FIRE and they sign it. But that will give us the ability to start moving forward on the hazard tree process again. We don't anticipate soliciting or accepting any applications until very late this year or early next year. That was for you, David. We did have the Forest Health Grant is signed. It's a big project working with the RCP, so it's just now on the cusp of going forward. Also, the South County Consortium, we had a meeting yesterday, and Lester ran a good meeting, and we're proceeding with a plan, waiting for that grant agreement to come from CAL FIRE and be signed so that we can start documenting our match requirement. We anticipate that, given the tree mortality came today, I think it'll be very soon that we get that agreement in place. So, the key thing there, I think, is to work with the county DOT to make sure we integrate our grants with the vegetation management that they're going to be doing along county, so that we don't conflict in our, and we can kind of work together to maybe make a synergy. In the report.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat. And yeah, and I just want to reiterate what Pat said. There are, we probably just all have to cool our jets a little bit, particularly on the hazard tree removal project. It's going to take some, and the group's thinking about it already, some thought process on how we implement, recognizing it's a technical program. It's going to involve sort of different set of contractors. We're talking about removing hazard trees, potentially around homes. And so there's just a lot to think through as we implement that. So, but it's definitely a thought process there, and more to come later this year. It's like Chris has his hand up.
Yeah, I apologize for the audio problems, but I had Sue Novacell, supervisor, and I was explaining to her about your meeting today, our meeting today, and she was quite impressed, and I was giving you the details, but I do have a report. If at the point where you can take my report, I'd wish to give you that report.
Let me do this, Chris. I want to get to public speaking for Alice. We've got a number of things going on in our outreach program. I'll give her a chance to update, and then we will circle back to you.
Okay, last time we had a meeting, it was right before the fair, and the fair has happened. I just want to really a big thank you to, I think it was about 10 different fire safe councils and 10 volunteers to the booths for the fair. We're actually going to be meeting today at 1 o'clock to discuss ideas for next year. So that will be here. But we have a number of ideas for the coming year, and I want to briefly mention, because I'm looking for people who might think, hey, I'd like to be part of that. I want to help with that. I'm kind of getting a little committee going here. So some of the things hope to do is, we already mentioned the trying to get the training going for the hardening home and the defensible space assessment, possibly going next year. But also I want to start a quarterly newsletter to get current science out to the fire safe councils. So this will be going about, 4 times a year quarterly. If that's interesting to you. I also want to revamp the education part of the county Fire Safe Council's website, but the website's great, but the education part could use some increased stuff, I think, and better organization. I also want to start visiting some of the fire safe councils and find out what great materials different fire safe councils have and letting other people know. Like I know Karen has this amazing house that I get to see this weekend. And then also get a Mountain Democrat article to try to reach the many people who are not in an associate fire safe council that are still in our county fire safe council. And Maya, it sounds like you and I need to talk about that. But so anyway, if there's anyone here who some of that is saying, hey, that's something I'd be interested in helping with or see happen, let me know, and I'd be happy to have you on a kind of a committee. We have at least one person so far. I'll be reaching out to some other people individually that want to really get our education going. So thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Yeah, I just want to reiterate folks stepping up with interest to help Alice. She's just really got a whole new set of opportunity and some momentum going here. And really need to invest and give her all the support. Thank you. So Karen does not have anything to report for 12D or 13E or D, Council Governance Committee. We don't have an E&F marketing report, so I will circle back then to Chris Payne and the Biomass Working Group report.
So I did have a report last Thursday in the Community and Economic Development Advisory Committee on biomass cogeneration. Greg Stanton is the county lead, and he's been doing an excellent job on trying to promote and also to work with people related to locations that might be available. Some of those locations now are kind of being worked out as biomass cogeneration. One significant one would be the Georgetown area, with working with the Golden Sierra High School in trying to have a small plant in the general area. This also is very extremely important, as we all know, to all of the fire debris that is currently in our forest right now from the Keller fire. So my point is today is just that I am in Lake Tahoe. I did drive up Mormon Immigrant Trail. I noticed that they're cutting back about 300 feet in each direction. That's the focus, and that there are stacks and stacks of logs. Some small, which, as you know, don't have a very long shelf life, about 18 months before they have to be milled. So anyway, big information countywide, all working towards the same goal. And so that's my report today, Ken.
That from Deborah Cruz saying that the Fuel Pilot Hill, that's the roadside fuel production project, has come back from Cal Fire ready for signature. So again, this Pat says these things are coming in like dominoes here. So it's awesome. So question. So with that, I'm looking, I've got David, your hands up. Is that you?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ken, I forgot to mention RAP when I was talking about RAC. So I think they're supposed to be at the same time. So I sent to the e-board my notes from the prior RAP meeting, Wildfire Risk Reduction Asset Protection Group. It is a great Zoom meeting. If people want any help getting links, send me an email. Should that report go out in the board package so everyone sees it, or what should I do with it?
Send it where you are. We'll take a look at it. Maybe there's some opportunity to share. But yeah, please keep sending it in the way you are, and I'll kind of redouble our look at it and see.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, there's a nonprofit, United Policyholders. They work very closely with the insurance commissioner, and Ken did publicize what we mentioned last time, how you can pay a little bit of money and get your individual home wildfire certified. It's a similar program to Firewise, but it's more for your individual home. Thanks, Ken.
That brings us to item 14, which is the end of the meeting. Our next board meeting is August 17th. Right here, it'll be a regular board meeting, no presentation. Words for the end of the year, or what that might be and what would be appropriate. So, thank you.
Sorry, a couple good to the order. Reminder for everybody, send me your events. There's a lot of stuff going on and I don't have all that on the events calendar. It'd be good to get that there. And somebody has the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council pop-up, the one that's kind of an orangey oatmeal color. If you have that, let me know so I can get it back from you. Thank you.
So thank you for that. And it's 11:28. The meeting is adjourned, and thank you all for keeping us on schedule.
Thank you.